What is up, party people? It is a Monday night. It is a Living Force night. We're going to talk about some non-Star Wars stuff tonight, though. We're going to get a little weird with it. It's going to be a blast. We got all your usual updates. We got a little bit of news. But before all that, Wes, all the way from Texas, all the way across the country, reach your milkshake finger and punch it! Welcome to the Living Force, a Utini Network Star Wars podcast where we celebrate books, we celebrate films, and tonight we celebrate all the things adjacent to Star Wars. We'll get to that more in a bit, but first, I'm your host, Eric Eilerson. Joining me tonight is the full complement of characters that I just miss every day we're not doing the show. And starting off is Dr. Corey Hilton.
What up,
Hey,
what
dude.
up? How are you guys doing? I'm pretty wore out. I'm trying very hard to get my trailer done, which I'll give you guys an update here in a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Monday night, got my beer. I'm ready to talk about stuff. You know,
Beer and talking about stuff. That is what we do.
Oh, did you guys like my intro for the podcast last week?
That was
great.
Incredible, y'all.
Yeah,
if you're
and
video
the ad break.
only, if you are video only, we love you. We love hanging out with you and love looking at our faces. That's fine. Go to your podcast provider and listen to Corey's edit of the episode last week, because every week Matt Davenport, our amazing editor who took a vacation, he edits. He puts these custom intros in. It's beautiful on the audio podcast. Corey was a day late editing it and decided to do a bit. It was hilarious. If nothing else, go listen to that 15 seconds. It was great. But before you listen to that, gaze your eyes on the golden Adonis that is Dr. Charles Hankel. Hey, dude.
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for this topic, Star Wars Jason, where we discuss all the Jasons from throughout Star Wars history.
That's right. That's it.
No, in all seriousness, I am stoked for this episode. Corey said it was a bad idea, so it's going to be one of our best ones yet. And I'm excited to get into it.
That is how it goes. And by that logic, the worst idea, the ugliest idea in the world would have to be Wes Jenkins. Because it's the opposite.
Hey, weird. Yes, I'm also excited for tonight because I don't know where this conversation is going to go. Eric had explained it to me to give my examples of some Star Wars adjacent creators and actors, and I didn't really. I needed more interpretation. I needed more explanation. I didn't ask for it, so I just put my own thoughts down, and we'll see how that goes. So it's also Astros Red Sox night. So
I was wondering.
all's fair in love and war, and I hope the Astros win the next 3 games.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, and that's why double monitors are for, folks, when we're recording. West, that's just fine. And so to everyone else, welcome in. We see a bunch of people in the chat. Hello. Hope you're all doing well. And like we were saying, this Star Wars adjacent episode is a celebration of the people that are either act in or write about or involved with Star Wars and the other things they do. So we're going to be talking later in the show about authors, other books outside Star Wars, maybe some actors, other films they've been in, things like that, because you know what? We love Star Wars. We would stay in this galaxy all the time, but every once in a while you want to shake it up, but still be a little familiar. So stay tuned. We're going to tell you all about that. But before you do, make sure if you're watching us live or watching us later, you like this video, you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, because y'all, we are at 1.99 thousand subscribers, which means we're almost at 2K. We're going to be a really average basketball video game very soon. So, very excited for that. Helps our analytics. You're all very lovely. Another thing we want to say at the top here is a giant congratulations to 2 Star Wars creators, Mr. Daniel Jose Older and Brittany Williams, who wrote in From a Certain Point of View, Empire Strikes Back, because they had a baby last week. He's a dad. Congratulations, Dad.
Daddy.
Daniel Jose Older. Had a little Jedi of their own. Everyone's doing well. So massive congratulations on welcoming a new addition to your family. We hope that you indoctrinate them in the films as soon as possible. Which I guess, guys, let's ask that question. What do you guys think is the proper age nowadays, if you're gonna have a kid in this world, when do you start doing Star Wars?
I'm going to be playing Empire as the baby is born.
Osmosis, excellent. Love that.
Imperial March.
Good.
Yeah. Why not as soon as possible? See, even before, like put the little like headphones on the mama's belly, and then just play like the baby Star Wars music. That'd be great.
I think it's different. It's different for us maybe than the answer was for us when we were kids, because there's a lot of awesome gateway stuff now that we didn't necessarily have. I mean, I think you can start Rebels and stuff like that.
That's what I'm thinking. A lot of people start Rebels now.
Yeah, you could start there, honestly. I've told y'all before, one of my earliest memories is watching Empire on VHS. So, I mean, clearly that worked for me. Here I am.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think there's a lot of pressure because Caitlin and I have talked about this, right? Because we're probably gonna start trying to have some babies here in the next couple of years, I imagine, which is crazy to even consider. But
it's scary for me as well.
Yeah, scary. You know,
you having kids, not me. I know I'm not, but you having kids scares me.
yeah. We've talked about that a lot of trying to figure out is there a right way. I think we have too much pressure. I think to make it be right. I think it's one of those things you just have to kind of just do or whatever. And I don't know. A lot of my earliest memories too are around Star Wars, so I don't really see there being a wrong answer here. And we all watched the original trilogy at very young ages and didn't understand it at all, right? And
we're just ooh.
I know.
Yeah, we got some good chat answers here. Our Moonflyer jumps in, says that my kids are 3.5 and 8 and probably started around 3 and 7. That's good. Our buddy Andrew Bell says his daughter jumped in utero during the title crawl of Force Awakens. So that's fun. And Caroline says that she'll be showing her niece Forces of Destiny as soon as she's born. That's a great one, too. Yeah. Shorts. Love that. And hey, if you are a prospective parent or just know anything about kids, or if you know nothing about kids, leave us a comment, tweet at us, put us up in Discord. Let us know. How are you going to start kids on Star Wars? Very important. Speaking of our Discord, we currently, in our High Republic channel, have a daily bracket that's going on. If y'all have been in our Discord for a while, you know there was a bracket challenge where we figured out our favorite High Republic book and character, I believe, earlier. But now, our buddy Blind Fates is running a duo bracket. We have a bunch of our favorite duos in High Republic, so just a quick shout out to y'all. I see it. The work y'all are putting in, all the debates that are going on. We got a lot of people that are coming for Orbalin, which is great. We got a lot of Lula and Zine love from the High Republic Adventures. If you're not in there yet, head into that High Republic Discord channel and do some voting, because we all just want March Madness to be back, and we're going to make it Star Wars until it is. Now to the update portion of the intro. Corey, as you said earlier, you've been working very hard lately. There hasn't been as much Star Wars as usual in the past couple weeks, so you've had some time. What have you been doing almost 13 hours a day whenever you're not at the hospital?
Oh, man. So, you guys have heard me talk about this previously on the show. My wife and I are converting a cargo trailer, like an enclosed trailer, into a camper, right? It's on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, Doc and Mental. And it's slowly coming together. We're very, very close to being done. So I'm having a Halloween party, and I'm trying to have it done by the Halloween party because everybody I work with and stuff wants to see pictures, and they keep asking me about it all the time, right? So I got to get it done when people come over, right? So we're absolutely busting our tail to get it done by the Halloween party, and all I have left is plumbing, and that's kind of it, right? So it looks very good. You guys have not even seen an updated photo in a long time, so I'm really excited to. I'll show it off on the show as soon as we get it done. But it's coming together, man. It's coming together.
Well, I'm excited. I know you've been working hard on it. I'm glad it's coming together. And speaking of coming together, everyone, the Utini Fantasy Update. Everybody, it is possible that I will win this week. It's not confirmed, because tonight our buddy Andrew Bell has Derrick Henry and Julio Jones to play left. I have AJ Brown left to play. I'm up by 20. I'm not feeling great, but I just want to say, for our update, I might win a game. Charlie won her first match this week of the season. It's been very hard in our household in the Utini Fantasy League. And Wes, you did not. But
Hey, hold on a second. Because I am currently in the lead.
Sorry, I was like, you're up by 2.
I don't think I'm up by 2. I think I'm up by 0.8 points.
Yeah.
And Emma, friend of the show, or Cosmic Force host, she has the Bills defense tonight, and that is it. So I need the Who are they playing? Tennessee?
Tennessee.
I need Tennessee to have a blowout victory
against the Bills.
The best team in the NFL.
Best team.
So, fingers crossed.
But if they can do that and only throw touchdowns to A.J. Brown, I'm in.
Okay.
So there's our UTD fantasy update. It continues just to be an emotional roller coaster, but that's why we love it. And last thing we're gonna talk about in this intro, a lot of stuff that's just fun this week. It's that kind of episode. We wanted to share with you all a clip from an interview we conducted the other week with Emma Camden, the writer of Ronin. A lot of y'all have already checked it out on our YouTube channel, but if you haven't, we got to talk to Emma all about how they created the story of Ronin, their heritage, their medical history. It was very fun. Honestly, one of my favorite interviews we've ever done. And because we've been wanting to incorporate that stuff more into our live show, we want to take a couple minutes now and show you a clip of our talk with Emma Camden. So let's roll it.
Ooh, actually, I think we don't have sound, so give us a second. Frustrating. No sound. Curses.
No sound.
I know. I tested it too, and it wasn't working. So let me reroute it really fast. Apologies, folks.
So
apologies.
Man, that was gonna be so cool.
Yeah, it was gonna be cool. I had it
that was
ready
gonna be
to go,
awesome.
Smooth.
And here, folks, this is the behind the scenes where, if you want to know what happens, at about 7:50 Eastern, Corey tells me, "Hey, should we put a clip in this week's episode?"
I know.
And I'm like, "Yeah, why not? We got 5 minutes."
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. All right, give me just a second. I'm almost ready.
All right, well, we'll give him a second.
Okay, we'll give you a second.
All right, I got it. You ready?
You got it? Oh, cool. I was going to vamp, but all right.
Our mics are hot, so don't tell Charles
Okay.
how bad his haircut looks. All right, here we go.
It's interesting to hear you talk. You can really hear the passion and the interest that you have kind of in, obviously, East Asian history, Japanese history, specifically with your heritage. And with you writing a Star Wars book, if you're going to write it from a historical framework, it makes sense that you chose to do it from a Japanese framework. But at the same time, are there specific aspects of Japanese history, like imperialism, that make you think that it's just a good choice if you're going to write a book like this? Because I couldn't help but notice, empire doesn't necessarily mean the empire like we've always understood it in Ronin.
Yeah, no, 100% spot on. You see into my mind.
Yes.
But yeah, just one of the first questions I had to ask when I was given the duel, which is using the settings that Jidaigeki is interested in, which is like this shogunate or imperial Japan. Like, okay, so the context of empire is necessarily going to change because Japan has a different relationship with empire than, the United States does. And I was talking with, forget who it was, someone did a wonderful job of pointing out, I think it might have been Brian Young at Full of Sith. He did a great job of pointing out that like a lot of the things I was thinking about in terms of like when you are a citizen of empire and how do you deal with that, because you aren't necessarily a rebel, you're just kind of living with it, and maybe you are living with it but you also don't like what it's doing in places, either within your borders or outside of it. But do you have the power to do anything about that? Maybe not. And like, what do you do? How do you live? And he made the great point of like, that's really seems to be present in the way George Lucas is thinking about Luke Skywalker in A New Hope, because here's this kid on, this outskirts planet in the middle of far gone nowhere who thinks the only way I'm going to be able to live a life outside of this is through the empire. And that was 100% correct. But like, that's just sort of like amplified here. So I feel like it was already very present in Star Wars. And I didn't have the language to articulate why that felt true until he pointed that out. But I really do think it's not weird for the empire to be positioned as like the status quo, because it extremely is in the genre of that we're riffing off of with Jidaigeki, which has already its lineage with Star Wars, but it's also just like kind of there within Star Wars itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
Just like, I'm so here for this right now.
Man, Corey, you're gonna like this book, man.
I'm so excited. I might go read it like literally as soon as we're done with this. I'm just like so jacked for this right now. Like I love history so much, and it really seems like so much has influenced your writing. Like I really want to read the manuscript that got you the job, because it's gotta be
that's 2023. That's coming.
Man, I just can't wait for
Keep an eye
that.
out for it.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well,
all right, here we go.
yeah. So that was just a little bit of us just being kind of dumbfounded by how cool Emma is and how much they know about everything.
Yeah, it was a super fun interview. One of the most fun we've ever done. So look out, Kevin Scott, social butterfly of the year, man. I don't know.
Look out, man! Utini's 2021. They're coming.
That's right. Yeah, she was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that interview yet, go back and listen to it. It's on YouTube. It's in the podcast feed. It was a really fun interview. She's just a lovely person. Absolutely lovely to hang out with. And she told us we all needed to come to Charles's power just went out 100%.
Yeah, his camera. Hi, buddy.
He told us that she told us that if we ever make it to Hawaii, we got to come hang out with her. So absolutely would love to make that happen.
It's gonna happen. And get ready to pre-order the Archive Undying in 2023, which is their next book. All right, so go check that out. And also, we want to say a thank you to our lovely Patreon community. And this week, we got 3 new patrons. Rebecca, Tyler Hayes, and Tyler Latour, who is on our monthly Alliance High Command, which just shot us past our next Patreon level and almost to the next one. It's an insane amount of support that you are giving. We love you so much, and we wanted to give some updates on these goals that we're going to find time to do. By the end of this month, we will be recording an Attack of the Clones commentary. Just like our Phantom Menace one, this will be audio only. We'll be releasing it in the podcast feeds. Additionally, we will be doing, because you voted on it, a Rogue One video commentary, where you'll be able to watch the 4 of us as we are on this show, watching Rogue One and giving our commentary about it. And you'll get to see what Corey looks like as he watches his favorite Star Wars film, which I think is really what we all needed here. So keep your eyes open for that. Attack of the Clones is going to be recording, I believe, on October 29th. We've set. Rogue One will be after that. And we want to hear from you, actually. What other goals do you, as patrons of Utini, of the Living Force, of Legends Look Back, the Cosmic Force, everything we do, what would you like from us when we hit these amazing goals? Because we want to thank you for the support, and we want to make sure we're giving you what you want. So hit up our Patreon manager, Timothy, through Patreon. Go into our Patreon channels on Discord. We'd love to hear from you. All right, now here's the test. Charles, are you back yet? Can you hear us?
Probably not.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear us?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
We can hear you. Can we see you?
Nope.
No.
Just the black screen.
That's all right. Well, while Charles figures that out, we do have a Patron of the week. I will do my best horrible Charles impression to read it for us. Let me get in the character real quick. Hey. Charles. That was terrible. Wait, Charles is back. Charles is back. We have a visual.
Visual. Yes, we do.
I see them. I found them. Repeat. I found them. This is Rogue 2.
Oh, man.
All right.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
And your pretty poo background is gone.
I was just
All right.
alerted that my internet connection is unstable. Thank you, Zoom.
Beautiful. Well,
You don't say.
let's keep it stable enough for you to talk about our awesome patron of the week, Fern.
Okay, so our patron of the week, Fern, says, hi, I think it's Feronia or Fern on the Discord, but unfortunately,
Awesome
I'm not
name.
very active there. It is an awesome name. Not very active there as I'm currently swamped with the grad student life. I'm from a little suburb about an hour north of Toronto, Canada, and I got into Star Wars when I was in the 9th grade. I was working on a project and needed a movie as background noise, but it turns out A New Hope was too good that I didn't get any work done and instead proceeded to watch the entire trilogy for the first time that day.
Yeah.
My favorite Star Wars story is the Revenge of the Sith novelization by Matthew Stover.
Yes.
I think it's the most heartbreakingly beautiful piece of literature ever written.
Woo.
There were so many moments where I had to physically put down the book and just sit in silence and contemplate life.
Jeez, speak.
Yes.
Speak to
I
me.
still haven't read
Say
it.
more.
Shut up, Wes.
I found out about Utini in March of this year. At the time, I was living alone in Ottawa, and the whole province had just started its third complete lockdown due to COVID. In my search for things to do in a lockdown, I discovered that Star Wars books exist. I remember trying to figure out where to start, and my Google search led me to Utini. Lost Stars was the first one I read, and since then I've read 32 books with another 12 on my to be read
Holy
shelf.
smoke! Since March of this
Yeah.
year, which is
Incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Wow, that is
I
incredible.
decided to support you all on Patreon because those lockdown days were rough, and listening to The Living Force and reading new books really helped me get through it. It was a little less lonely whenever I did some mundane task with a round table playing in the background. And now commuting in Toronto means I'm flying through all the podcast shows, so the extra content is a big bonus. I've just finished the show Marvel's What If, and so my question is, if you could write an episode of a Star Wars What If show, what would your What If be? Mine would be, what if Obi-Wan never hid on Padme's ship when she flew to Mustafar?
Wow.
Wow.
This is a fantastic Patreon message. I think she set the new standard.
Yeah, that
Very
I love
good.
this
Very
one.
very
Yeah.
good.
And shout out to Toronto. I love Toronto. I haven't been in a long time, but it's a beautiful city. I
I
love
want to know, does she go by Fern because of Vern, or does she go by Fern always?
it. Ooh. I'm going to say it's
one.
because of Ernesto
We
Rowe.
call her Fernestra Rowe.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's okay.
I'll say yes.
The other thing I was gonna say is 32 books is more than a book a week. I did the math. That's incredible.
That's a lot.
That's tremendous.
That's so many books.
Congrats.
That's too
Yeah,
much.
That's amazing.
That
I
is
feel
that's
bad
like
about complaining
me.
about how fast I have to read for
I know. That's crazy.
right.
Crazy.
So
All right,
that's
very
a great
good question.
That's a great what if. If Obi-Wan never hit out on Padme's ship,
I
we
know.
don't get the duel.
I know what mine would be right off the bat.
Go.
It's a big one, though. It's not changing a small detail. What if Leia went to Tatooine and Luke went to Alderaan?
Ooh, that's a
I
fun
love
one.
that.
Yeah,
I
I like
love
that
that.
That's a fantastic one. That's a fantastic one. I mean, I love that story in what was it? Is it in from a certain point of view maybe where Obi-Wan and Yoda are talking about like they're bickering about how Obi-Wan
Yeah, I
thought it was
think
going to be
that's it.
Luke and Yoda thought it was going to be
Yep.
Leia, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a really
Um,
good little scene. I have one immediately that I thought of while she was or while you were reading this is
Go.
what if this is part of the Matthew Stover Revenge of the Sith novelization? What if Padme had gone to Obi-Wan regarding the pregnancy, right? Regarding Anakin being
yeah.
the father. What if she had turned to him? Because
Yes.
there is the scene between Padme and Obi-Wan in the Matthew Stover Revenge of the Sith novelization is maybe my favorite scene in any
It's
Star
so-
Wars
it's
book
beautiful.
ever. It is such a beautiful piece of that book, and that could change everything. Oh my god, it could change everything. So I wish
Wow.
that could be a thing.
That's so good. Wes, you got one off the top of your head?
Yes. What if Mace Windu had been successul in
And
his
it killed Palpatine?
and killed Palpatine?
That's another
Love
good
it.
one, dude. That's a very good one. I like that one too, dude.
But
These are all around Revenge of the Sith. I just want to say everything we've said is Revenge of the Sith.
That's true.
Everything happens in
Anakin
Revenge
is
of the
still
Sith.
Darth Vader. Anakin is still
Here's
he's
another
the
one
last
for you.
Sith.
Yes, I think that's true. Still.
What if Ben Quadranero's pod racer worked?
Oh, shut up. Shut up, Charles.
It is the fastest. Remember, we looked it up. It's the fastest pod.
Just
He would have
saying.
won.
I could do this all night. We should have a whole show like this.
That's a
I
fantastic
think we
idea.
have had a
Charles,
Star Wars
write
What
it
If
down.
show.
I
Have
would
we
say
done that? Wow, we've had
Yeah.
too many episodes. I don't even remember.
Let's do it
I
again.
think my my default is what if Padme survived? I think that's a great one that we've talked about a lot before. I think that's kind of the biggest what if in all of Star Wars, technically.
yeah.
Because
Also
even
Revenge
if the
of the
duel
Sith.
happens, if Padme is the one that's leading the resistance and then she has to fight Vader later, like 30 years, I think that's fun.
I have another good one. What if Padme joined Anakin on Mustafar.
And they do rule together.
And they rule together, and Padme helps outsmart Palpatine in the government while Anakin leads the military. Dude, we need to have a Revenge of the Sith, themed What If episode. That's what we should do. There's so many important plot points that happen in that film.
All right, I got one more. I got one last one to get. This is one that's been talked about online by a bunch of different people, but I think just for pure story, what if Ben Solo had lived? Either if Rey dies or if they both come back. I just love the idea of him coming back, and that story is not about the like it sucks because it didn't happen. Like purely for a what if. I think that's a really interesting story of the son of Solo. Leia's gone, Han's gone, Luke's gone, and he just has to kind of face everyone. I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
but write that down. We're absolutely gonna do another what if episode because that's already the most fun I've had in a long time. So thank you for Nestor Rowe. You're the best. You're the bomb.com. Let's jump into a Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
It's the Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
All right, a quick Star Wars Weekly Roundup because we're already gonna go long. 3 things from this past week I want to tell you all about. The first is featured on utini.com. Our very own Meg Dowell wrote an article about the first excerpt from Thrawn Ascendancy, Lesser Evil. The 3rd book in the trilogy was released this week. It's a memory chapter that shows Thrawn meeting Thras, who we know is dead in the modern day, and as far as these books go. But the memory talks about that first meeting. It's really freaking awesome. And just today on Twitter, our very own Tom over at Del Rey did a thread about the design process on the covers for the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. If you want to check that out, that book is coming up very soon. And on November 15th, Tom is actually going to talk to Tim Zahn all about Thrawn. The same as the Ronin interview that happened last week with Emma Camden. There is going to be put on by Mysterious Galaxy. It's going to be the bookshop that puts it on. They're going to have signed book plates available by Timothy Zahn. And unless you're going to cons, it's not always as easy to get stuff signed by Timothy Zahn. So definitely check that out, both on the Mysterious Galaxy Twitter and the Del Rey Twitter account. So you can go to that November 15th and get your Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil book there. And third of all, I told you I was going to be expedient, guys. Hope you're proud of me. This, we have a little mini book review. Let's see, last week or so, publishing schedules got a little weird, right? We got a nice little small High Republic release, which is this. This is Star Wars High Republic Showdown at the Fair by friend of the show, love of our lives, George Mann. He got to write in the High Republic, and this is basically, above all, a sticker book. Yeah. Look at those stickers! Look at Boriaga.
I like that Jedi shirt. That should be a t-shirt for sure.
Yeah, right? These are all amazing. But this is an illustrated book about kind of what happens in the beginning, or no, the middle, I guess, of the Rising Storm with the Nihil attack on Valo with their High Republic fair. It really centers around our buddy Boriaga. Look how cute he is. Look how happy he is. And that's exactly it.
Looks like he has no tangles.
He does. And those tangles are beautifully illustrated by Peter Antonsen, who's done the art for the previous children's book, who did the art for A Test of Courage, A Race to Crash Point Tower. So if you're looking for that same visual language, it's very much the same. This thing, I think it's like $7 on Amazon. It's like it's a beautiful little, like, it's definitely meant for younger audiences, but for us fans of the High Republic that want more visuals, it shows like all these amazing ship designs. Like these are the Togruta ships that come at the end of the day in the Rising Storm. Like we've never seen those before. And they all get put in this book. There's tons of stickers you can decorate however you want. It's got like a very small chunk of what happened in the book. So if you got younger readers that maybe aren't ready for things like the Rising Storm, because let's be honest, I'm an adult and I was not ready for the Rising Storm. This is a great alternative to keep them in the story. And of course, to get all these stickers of like, look at that. I'm backwards. Of Bell and Ember, of Stellan, of the Innovator, just all kinds of cool, fun stuff.
It is an interesting choice. It is an interesting choice. You have to admit. You have to kind of picture them being in that meeting and being like, "Hey, you know that massacre that happens in the Rising Storm? Hear me out. Sticker book."
And they're like, "Hey, who's really screwed up in the head, but also has a really adorable, loving soul?" George Mann,
Yes.
who has written some absolute horror and has also written some glorious children's stuff. So George did a great job kind of consolidating all that down. It's very fun. Go pick it up for the kid in your life or get it for yourself and put the stickers on your computer. You know, who's to say? Go check it out now. And of course, if you're looking to buy either that or any of the upcoming books like Throne Ascendancy, Lesser Evil on November 16th, that's just a month and it's over 500 pages, or the High Republic Fallen Star on January 4th.
That's directed towards me.
It's directed towards myself because I got to review that thing and I've barely started. Go check out our new releases page over on Utini. You can get that from any bookseller you want. We got affiliate links for Bookshop, for Books A Million, and for Amazon. Support local if you can, but we all understand. All right. Next up, we're going to take a quick break, but we want to say before we do, if you are reading any Star Wars books, if you're reading Ronin especially, make sure you go to utini.com and leave us some book reviews. We do not have any user reviews for Ronin yet, so if you've finished or when you do, you may be the first. Look up your book on utini.com, go to the book details, scroll down to the bottom, add that star rating, add that user review, and let us know what you think. All right, we are now going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about the Star Wars stuff that isn't Star Wars stuff. See you in a sec.
Darth Vader lightsaber lamp, and I just like I just knocked over everything in my office so I could get this into the camera shot. I knocked one of the posters off the wall.
Anderson cover. I have
Yeah.
heard the Anderson cover described by some friends of mine as one of their least favorite Legends covers, and I don't totally know why. Maybe it's just because Depa Balaba has this dead stare in the background.
You know what it is?
Emma, what is your art of the week this week?
Yeah, so I don't have anything as dark and depressing as that corpse, but
And we are back. For our audio friends, if you don't get that ad on the audio, I just wanted to shout out the other live shows we have every week here on Utini. On Wednesdays, we got Legends Look Back, who has been doing some amazing work the last few weeks. We got kind of a quote-unquote new batch of hosts. They're still relatively new, with Emily and Rick joining Jared and Freddie every Wednesday night. And, of course, the Cosmic Force has the full crew. They're talking about comics. So if you like the Living Force, we love you. Thank you. But be sure to go check out those other shows as well. We got every kind of vibe you can imagine on this channel. All right. Star Wars adjacent. Maybe the worst SEO title we've ever had for an episode, but maybe the most fun concept. So this was actually, I got to shout out Charles. This was Charles's idea. Because we were talking during our interview with Emma Camden, and we realized, oh, she has this book coming out, The Archive on Dying, that was the manuscript that got written to get them the Ronin job. And we're like, oh, we can't wait for that book. And then we're like, wait a minute. Every Star Wars author or actor has that thing, has that other book they're writing, has that other movie that they're doing that's not Star Wars. So let's take some time. Let's highlight those. Let's celebrate those. And maybe throughout this episode, we can show you all some things that you can read. But maybe, you know, finding new authors is hard. So you like our Star Wars work? Let's see what we can find outside it. So I gave you all a homework assignment this week. I said, do like 3-ish things that you love that aren't Star Wars, that are created or are related rather. Let's kind of see what happens. So do you guys want to jump in and see if any of this is any good and if we burn in flames?
No, not really. I think we should just stop the show now. I mean,
Wait,
whatever.
Corey's on the show. So, I'm going to start us off. We'll go to round robin style. The first one for me I want to talk about is one of my favorite writers. I found this writer out through Star Wars, and I have followed their career ever since. And that is Chuck Wendig, who wrote the Aftermath trilogy with Aftermath, Aftermath Life Debt, and Aftermath Empire's End. And he wrote the book Wanderers, which is a dystopian epic that I really love, but I lent out my copy, so I couldn't show it on the show. But I want to show off the Book of Accidents, which is a book by Chuck Wendig. It is a modern day set horror horror book. I'll say it's a horror book. So if you're in spooky season, this book chronicles a family, and it goes to Pennsylvania, where Chuck is from, and they deal with like generational family trauma with a little side of supernatural bits mixed with some serial killers and a little bit of magic. And if you like Chuck's writing style, I know that's my one sentence pitch I've been trying to come up with. That's it. That's my one sentence pitch. If you like Chuck in the Aftermath books, which I know is stylistically very difficult, it's very polarizing. He does a lot of like choppy dialogue. It's not your typical kind of Star Wars prose. That style is not as intense in Book of Accidents and Wanderers, but it is still very prescient. So if you're like, oh, I really like that style, but since he doesn't write Star Wars anymore, where can I get that? I would highly recommend Wanderers and the Book of Accidents. Now, I don't think any of you guys have read any of these two books. Is that right?
No. I have not read either
That's
one of those
books. That's a big book, man.
It's a thick, but this is way shorter than Wanderers.
A lot of
accents. It was hilarious. Yeah, this is
Wanderers, right?
Yep, that's Wanderers right there. That was came out a couple years ago. It's like 800 and something pages, and there's a sequel coming out next year. And I'm like, I should reread, and then I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. But this short little baby is only 525 pages. And to this day, I don't know how I found time to read this year. Because I'm pretty sure there's a new Star Wars book since I've started this sentence that's been released.
Don't tell Fern about that. She'll have it read by the end of the show.
That tickled me. But for people that like Chuck's Star Wars work, if you follow Chuck Wendig on social media or have read a Star Wars book, you know about his political leanings. They're very clear in his books. So if you do not necessarily align with Chuck's beliefs, you're probably not going to like his writing. He's pretty left-leaning, way more in Wanderers than in Book of Accidents, which is kind of more just about straight family horror stuff. If you are bothered by like an overabundance of gore or like kind of mental trauma involving like parents and things like that, maybe stay away from this. I mean, you know, trigger warnings are important, right?
If you're not a big fan of knife fights, you know, that lead to entrails on the floor, maybe skip this one, right?
Skip this one. But if you want a good spooky season read, because we're still in spooky season, right? Definitely pick up the Book of Accidents. You will like that if you like Aftermath series.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what I got for my first one.
All right, so I have all of them pulled up, but because I'm using Google Chrome, the tabs are all very small. So I don't know which one is which. Unless you want me to have to cycle through them, it's going to be a pain in the butt.
Let's just go to the next one.
I'm just going to pick one at random, and just whoever is jump in. So
I like it.
Just to clarify a little bit, like we talked about Star Wars adjacent. I mean, you kind of introduced it already, Eric, but like Star Wars adjacent is like, I don't know, connected to Star Wars by like 1 or 2 degrees of separation, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
it's the Kevin Bacon game.
Yeah, the Kevin. I was gonna say, who's that? What's the thing that they do? It's the Kevin Bacon thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
so,
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, right. So we wanted to pick stuff that was kind of loosely connected to Star Wars. So I have one. I'll do mine too. Here, this is probably my wife's favorite movie.
Yeah,
is Moulin Rouge, right? So. Moulin Rouge is let's see here. I put some notes in here. I said, this is the description from Wikipedia that I pulled earlier today. It follows a young English. Wow, I've been drinking, guys. It follows a young English poet Christian who falls in love with the star of the Moulin Rouge cabaret actress and courtesan Satine. Right, so this stars Ewan McGregor as Christian and Nicole Kidman is Satine. So this is why we don't have the Obi-Wan Satine story, guys. It's because it's already been written, and this is it. This is like my wife's favorite movie ever. It's a musical, so if you're not a big fan of that, you might not like it, but Ewan McGregor,
you
guys,
will be. You will be.
Holy smokes, that dude can sing. Holy crap.
He's hot. He's so hot. If you thought Obi-Wan was hot, he's so hot in this movie. It's insane.
Yeah, this movie has got like a lot of sexuality vibes. Like, I mean, it's the Moulin Rouge, right? I mean, it's like it's very like there's a lot of innuendo jokes. Like it's really fun. It's a fun musical. I would love to see it live.
Yeah, because it just got I think it won some Tonys. It just got a Broadway stint last year, and I think a buddy of mine from college actually worked on it. So
nice.
Well done, Jacob, if you're listening.
It's a fun movie. Highly recommended.
Great call. If you're going through a breakup, I wouldn't recommend it. Because it hits a little hard if you're, I don't know, hypothetically in college, a little drunk, going through a breakup during the summer, hypothetically, if that's when you watch this for the first time, maybe it hits a little hard.
I mean, that's good advice.
Oh, man.
Can I tell y'all something?
Yeah.
Probably unsurprisingly, the majority of my list of Star Wars adjacent things tonight has to do with Ewan McGregor, because I love Ewan McGregor. I also happen to love musicals. I really do. I have never seen this movie ever in my life.
Charles!
Wow, you got to pick it
Is
up.
that a Patreon goal where we watch Moulin Rouge with Charles?
I've never seen it either, but I don't think y'all are surprised at that.
If we watch Moulin Rouge as a Patreon goal, we have to do it dressed in drag, 100%.
Absolutely. Oh my God, guys, that's what we're doing on our vacation together. We're gonna get drunk and watch Moulin Rouge.
Oh my God. Oh,
You laugh, but that might happen.
Yeah, I know. Come with me. It's amazing.
It's so fun. Here's another little interesting thing about this. When Caitlin and I first started dating, we were in college, and Caitlin had never seen any of the Star Wars prequel films. And her first exposure to, she was like, "Oh yeah, Ewan McGregor is in Star Wars 2," and I was like,
Two?
what? No, that's not how this works. So yeah, I showed her Star Wars. She showed me Moulin Rouge. We watched it in college.
Oh, yeah, and that's one thing I also wanted to say as we go through these. We'll say if we came to Star Wars first or these first. So that's always interesting to see how you know people from that. Caitlin, I think, is, I guess, probably not as unique as we'd think from that. But that's awesome. I don't know what's that movie again.
All right, here we go. Next one.
Spin the wheel.
Here we go. Spin that wheel. Dune. Who's this?
Dune. So this is mine. And I put this last, but I'm glad we're doing it first. Not really. All right, so Dune is one of the, I guess you could say one of the creators. So I'll say Frank Herbert is one of the creators that I got into after Star Wars. So I don't think Dune really has anything to do with Star Wars itself, but it's a sci-fi, like one of its own fandoms. And when I was looking into it, I mean, I would always see these reviews saying it's the best science fiction book ever written. So I wanted to read it. I bought it probably a year ago. I still have it. I have it right here. It's super crisp. Hasn't even been opened.
Boy.
Yeah, it is.
That makes the Book of Accidents look like nothing.
Not really.
It's
actually 640 pages, but there's like another 100 or so of like appendix and like
it feels like
glossary
1,200 if that helps as you're reading it.
And so I picked up the audio version as well, 21 hours 2 minutes, and it's abridged. At 21 hours and 2 minutes.
Dude, so, I saw a tweet this week that said that it said something like, I work at a bookstore. I just want to say the only people who buy Dune are people who want to flex on other nerds.
I mean, I bought it last year and intended to read it.
Yeah, I did too. I listened like when we got the first like teaser trailer or whatever for Dune, and we found out it's gonna have Oscar Isaac in it and stuff. Like,
oh yeah, there it is, Star Wars adjacent. Oscar Isaac.
That's it. Yeah, Star Wars adjacent's in the film. Yeah. When I picked up the audiobook too, I didn't realize it was a bridge. I listened to, I shit you not, 2 hours of the audiobook, and I looked at Caitlin. We were on a long car ride. I looked at Caitlin. I was like, "Do you have any idea what the hell is happening in this book?" And she goes, "No, I've been wanting to say this for an hour." So we turned it off because I've never listened to 2 hours. That's like a film. I never listened to 2 hours of a book and still I had the slightest idea what the hell was going on. So I stopped.
It is eerily similar. So it's like a wasteland planet, and it has to do with spice. So, I mean, there's some similarities there. But yeah, I've never seen the movies. I haven't seen the 1984 version. I'm probably not going to watch the new version until I read this book. And then there's like 4 other adaptations of the book, like Children of Dune and then these other ones afterwards. Universe. Yeah. So
I already have 2 tickets bought for next weekend.
Okay.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Wow. So I can't wait to start reading it. I was actually going to read it on starting on vacation, but I'm going to read Ronin first, and then once I'm done with that, then I might break it open. So who's to say?
I like
Dune.
It. Nice.
Charles, I think this is one of yours, right?
Yeah.
This was one of my honorable mentions. But I'm gonna let's talk about it because you can probably already tell if you're watching the video. This is Jingle All the Way. This is the movie poster for Jingle All the Way. the Star Wars connection is that Jake Lloyd plays Arnold Schwarzenegger's son in this movie.
Jake
Sinbad
Lloyd?
is also in this movie.
Yeah, it's totally
That's
Jake Lloyd.
I'm looking for a Turbo Man doll. Turbo Man.
Turbo Man. Yes. So this movie is fantastic. If y'all have never seen this, we're getting into holiday season. It is so much fun.
It is.
It's basically Arnold Schwarzenegger forgot to buy the Turbo Man action figure for his son. Turbo Man is like Superman in this universe. And so he goes on like a last minute shopping spree to try to find this thing. And he ends up in this vendetta with Sinbad, who plays a mailman, who's also trying to get a Turbo Man doll. It is so funny. It's one of my favorite. It's like one of those Christmas movies that's not like super Christmassy, I guess, but it's still a ton of fun.
It's so fun.
I watch it every year without doubt.
It's one of the most fun Arnold Schwarzenegger movies by far. And I will say, I learned everything I know about business from Arnold Schwarzenegger in the beginning of that film, because he's like, and yes, you're my favorite customer. And then he's like,
you're my number one customer.
he's talking to his wife, and she's like yelling at him for working too hard or whatever at the beginning of the film. She's like, you have to get the Turbo Man action figure or whatever. He's like, yes, and remember, you're my favorite customer. Oh wait, then she hangs up on him. I'm just like, it makes me laugh every single time.
They hand Sinbad the sidekick. He's like, nobody wants a booster doll. Nobody wants Booster.
There's another Star Wars connection. Oh my gosh, Booster Tarek.
Oh yeah,
from the
that's
X-Wing
a good one.
series.
God.
Turbo Man's sidekick's name is Booster.
Well, and also like
funny,
it's very obviously because of a lot of like sad life reasons. We never quite got a lot of Jake Lloyd's career because of all the horrible things that went down with him.
What the heck is
Dog's
that?
freaking out.
What
Talk more
was
about
that?
Jake Lloyd.
Okay.
There actually was just recently a really interesting little documentary that I sent actually in the Slack to everybody. I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch it. It was like 15-ish minutes. And it was a documentary about one of the other kids who lost out to Jake Lloyd to play young Anakin Skywalker and kind of what happened with his life. And he actually writes children's books now. But that was actually an incredible little documentary.
Really? Is that like the primary idea of the documentary? Is that he lost out to Jake Lloyd?
It's the whole, I mean, it basically follows what did it mean to be up for that role? What did it mean to lose that role? And like looking back, kind of what are his feelings on it, seeing what happened with Jake Lloyd, and it's pretty interesting.
Awesome. Well, jingle all the way. You get some Jake Lloyd love in your life.
Yes.
All right. What do we got next, Corey?
I think this one is one of yours, maybe? Question mark? Is this yours?
Nope.
It is absolutely not.
That looks like a Wes.
Wes.
This is from the 1984 movie Dune. So this is another Dune adaptation. I mean, it looks science fiction 100%. Look at the lady in the back. She's giving that like Bastila death stare that Jared talks about in the live show.
Oh my God,
commercial.
yes. Great. So that's what Dune looks like if you want to watch the old one.
Okay.
All right, what's that?
I'm gonna take it on with yours. This one's also yours, Wes, right?
This is mine, yes. So this is Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. So this definitely has ties to Star Wars already, just because Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are such great friends. But why I really put this together was because of a man named Dennis Muerin, and he is one of the visual effects artists. He was basically the supervisor on a lot of the films that he worked on, and he worked on the CGI for the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park. And this movie came out in 1993, and they did not. They were going to do like stop motion kind of, but once they saw Dennis and his team put this together. They decided like this is the way to go. If we're going to do this CGI, and this is what influenced George Lucas to start creating the prequels. He said, hey, the technology has come along far enough, and we can see it in Jurassic Park, that we can start doing the prequels to Star Wars now. We can put this together through CGI. So Dennis Muerin is kind of the
that's a great one.
Star Wars adjacent person that I added to that. He did he had cameos in Raiders of the Lost Ark too. So
really?
George Lucas-esque and Steven Spielberg, and then he also is in Star Tours. He has a cameo somewhere in Star Tours, which is funny, but yeah.
That is wild,
awesome. Dude. That's
of course,
fantastic. Have you guys watched Jurassic Park in the last couple of years?
Yes,
I watch it
it
every time
holds
it
up
comes on.
amazingly.
I watched
probably a
it
few
when
years
they
ago.
put it on Netflix like last year or something, and holy smokes, that movie holds up so well. Oh my gosh.
good.
It is so
That's
cool.
another one that I watched an interesting video on that was dissecting why were those movies so awe-inspiring and why do they hold up, even actually compared to the new Jurassic Parks that they did with Chris Pratt. And it was talking about the angles.
Those ones.
Yeah, exactly. But it was talking about the angles that they use to film like the dinosaurs themselves and how they always are like from below. They make them feel massive. And a bunch of the new movies are more wide shots and like it doesn't have that same feel to it. So it was like really expertly shot, let alone all the CGI.
It's the movie I think of when I see Steven Spielberg's name. It's the movie I think of because there's so much really incredible movie making to that film. Like it's so good. Like one of my favorite movie making facts ever from Jurassic Park is how they made the T-Rex the water when the famous scene, arguably one of the most famous shots in all of cinema is the water. Like that spiral that happens in the cup when the T-Rex is like walking or whatever. And they talked about like there was like a whole docuseries or something I watched just about like the cinematography in Jurassic Park. And it talked about that. They tied a string to a pin that's attached to the bottom of the cup like a guitar string, and they pluck it. And that's how they got the water to do that thing. Yeah.
That's
and like
so cool.
the guy that created that, I forget who it was. It might be who you're talking about, Wes, but the guy that created that, he literally he said he tried like 150 different experiments to try to get some cool water shot, and I mean it paid off because it's one of the most famous shots in cinema. But
You say arguably the best scene in that movie, but I think it has close. I think it's close to the time the attorney gets eaten when he's sitting on the shitter by the T-Rex.
That's a great one.
you gotta go, Wes.
Yeah, I want to shout out Cheryl in the chat brought up something really great that I watched recently. If you are on Netflix or have someone's Netflix account, there's a show called The Movies That Made Us, and there's a Jurassic Park episode. It's incredible. You learn all about these guys, all about the ILM. They go in the old ILM offices, and you meet like the one guy that basically wasn't supposed to be doing anything, or he was gonna get fired, but he said, "Screw it, I think this can work," and he's the whole reason that we got a CGI dinosaur. Like, it's a really awesome thing, and of course, you see the maestro John Williams.
Yes, and don't forget about John Williams.
Everything.
That soundtrack is amazing.
So good.
It is. It's so good.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I think the Jurassic Park soundtrack might be like John Williams' second best soundtrack in his entire career. Like for real.
I would like
So
the
good.
70. Yeah, incredible stuff. Great pick, Wes.
All right.
All right, what's next?
There's this one. This is Charles. This is yours, right?
Charles, yes.
Yeah, so this was my number 2. So this is the movie poster for Jumper from 2008. This is a film starring Hayden Christensen, and it basically, if you haven't seen this, it tells the story of a young man who discovers he has the ability to teleport, and he uses it to escape his like abusive household and go on all these adventures. And he finds that there are other people that have the same ability as him, but then he finds out they're locked in like this ancient war with people who want to kill them because they think only God should have the power to be everywhere and anywhere at any time. And it's really good. Like, actually, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, critics rate it like a 15%, but audiences give it closer to a 50. And it's kind of like Revenge of the Sith, I think. And it came out only a few years later because there really is like a cult following. Like if you talk to people who've seen this movie, they either just hate it or they love it. And I happen to be one of those people that loves it. I had the DVD. I would watch it on road trips. Like it was one of my go-tos if I just wanted a movie on. And it's obviously Star Wars adjacent because of Hayden. But it is also Star Wars adjacent because the main villain in this is Samuel L. Jackson with bleach blonde hair. Dude, he looks like Cisco. It's amazing. And another cool thing about this book, or about this movie, is that it's a book. That's what I was going to say.
Was it a book first?
It was a book
didn't know that.
first. Yeah.
Okay.
So you could read this if you want. I don't think I wrote down the actual info on it. Yeah, I don't think I have it here, like the author's name. I should have had that. But there are actually some sequels that follow like the main character's kid afterwards. So like there's a whole book universe. If you're not a movie person and you're with us because you love reading books, you could enjoy this story that way as well.
That's rad. I remember this book when this movie came out. Cause yeah, I mean, I was in high school. It was Hayden Christensen. It did get, unfortunately, very panned by most people. But it is one of those movies
It got
that, like,
what?
panned.
What does that mean? Panned, like P-A-N?
When a movie gets panned, P-A-N-N-E-D. You never heard about that?
What the hell does that mean?
I'm
Pan?
old, I don't know
Like,
what you're
Like, it got
throwing
bad
in the
reviews.
pan? Okay.
I don't know why it's called that.
I've never heard that expression before. I think you
But
just
I
made
do
that
love
up.
that sim. I did not. But I do. I did not. But I do love that Samuel L. Jackson was like, I like hanging out with Hayden Christensen. Yeah, sure. I'll look at this movie.
I've only seen Jumper one time. I remember watching it in college and being like, I also picked it up because Hayden Christensen was in it, and I watched it. And this movie, I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was fun. It's a weird, fun action movie. So I think everybody has dumb, weird, fun action movies that they just love. For me, it's Independence Day. I love the Independence Day films so freaking much.
Brave Day.
Even the second one with freaking Jeff Goldblum was like the
wow.
primary. I love that freaking
Yeah.
movie, dude. I don't know. They're like my dumb fun movies. But this is in that category. And you know, hot take. I didn't think Hayden Christensen was bad in this movie either. Like,
Dude, I don't think he's a bad actor, period.
He's a director.
Actually,
I think it
the
is.
one I do think. Okay, have y'all seen Shattered Glass? Have y'all seen that movie?
No, I heard it was. That's prequels, isn't it?
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, he's like plays this guy Stephen Glass who writes. Apparently, I think it's based on a true story. He writes for a magazine. I can't remember what it is, and he basically fakes all of his stories. But it was in the days of the early internet, so no one really could figure it out that he was faking his stories.
Anonymity,
But then they
true
do figure
anonymity.
it out. Yeah. Anyways, Shattered
We
Glass.
love Hayden.
Look that one up too.
yeah, there's another fun what if. What if Hayden Christensen hadn't been in Star Wars?
Ooh, who
I don't
would
like
have been?
that.
What would he have done with this career?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
What if Nicolas Cage? What if Nicolas Cage played Aragorn?
I don't like this timeline. What's next, Corey?
I don't like this timeline. Oh man, I was reading about freaking. I was reading about something. What was I reading? Oh, in Moulin Rouge, Ewan McGregor, he beat out Leonardo DiCaprio for the lead role in that movie. Like,
awesome.
wow.
He was one of the top.
That's totally a Leo role.
It is. Yeah, it totally is. And the director of Moulin Rouge, sorry to get hung up on Moulin Rouge. The director of Moulin Rouge, he also did that really weird modern Romeo and Juliet
Lerman.
film.
Yes.
Baz Luhrmann.
You know what I'm talking about? You guys seen the
Yeah,
they all
Romeo and
have
Juliet.
guns.
Yeah.
It's such an odd, weird. I love
John
that movie, by the way.
Leguizamo
It's
as Tybalt?
super
Yeah.
good. Yeah, okay, exactly. Yeah, so he's the same director, and Leo knew him from that movie, right? So. But Ewan McGregor, he beat him, and they auditioned him. They loved Ewan, so he got the role. So
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
Because Leo, I think I will say I think Leo is maybe the best like actor movie star in the last 20 years, maybe 30. But yeah, Ewan is the perfect person for Moulin Rouge and for Star Wars.
All right. Here's another one of mine. Speaking of Moulin Rouge, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Man, this is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. I absolutely love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I knew this, but I totally forgot about it until someone brought it up in Discord today. We should give them credit. Somebody find
y'all in Discord were great.
Yeah, whoever said that, find whoever said that. Somebody that's not talking. This show is one of my all-time favorite shows. Caitlin and I rewatch the whole season, like the whole show, all 3 seasons every year or two, and Dave Filoni was one of the lead folks that worked on this project. Like he worked on this before he worked on Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And I if I remember correctly, I think I remember seeing an interview or something like this a long time ago where he talked about George Lucas loved this show and this is one of the reasons that George wanted him to work on Clone Wars is because of the way that like the culture and the lore was created in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And like I really, really enjoy this show, especially.
It's our buddy Mike, by the way. It was Mike that brought it up in Discord.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Yeah. Also, Corey, do you know who voices Fire Lord Ozai in Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Ooh, it's Mark Hamill, isn't it?
It's Luke Skywalker, man.
I forgot about that. I found out that fact like relatively recently, actually.
Yeah.
And, man, I think I think the last time Caitlin and I watched it, actually, I thought the voice sounded familiar, so I looked it up, and now I almost crap my pants. I think it was incredible.
It's so cool.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yes. Yeah.
Tell us more.
Good thing I was wearing diapers. Okay.
It helps. And then, of course, D. Bradley Baker, the voice of all the clones, is the voice of Appa and Momo. If you watch an animated show in the last 10 years and it has an animal in it, it's probably D. Bradley Baker.
That is correct. That is correct.
Love that weirdo.
All right, moving
There's
on.
an interview where Filoni talks about getting the phone call from George while working on Avatar.
Yeah,
to
to do
discuss
Clone Wars.
and he thought it was a prank phone call, and like he either did or almost hung up on him because he was like, "There's no way. Everyone that I work with knows I love Star Wars. Like that would never happen." And yeah,
That's funny.
I love Dave.
All right, here's one of yours, Charles, I believe, right? Big Fish.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
This is another one of my honorable mentions. Again, the theme that you're seeing here is Ewan McGregor, and I'm not surprised. but also, I just love Tim Burton. I'm actually going next weekend. I'm going to see Nightmare Before Christmas live with the Charlotte Symphony playing the track
cool,
live.
dude. That'll be fun.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm a big Tim Burton fan. This movie is like less Burton-esque than a lot of the other Burton because it's not really dark. It really is more lighthearted, but still very, very strange. So just quickly, because I don't want to spend too much time on it, it is like basically a story about an estranged father and son. And the father is getting to the end of his life, and his son kind of comes home to see him. And his father always told all these crazy stories from his past. And the son kind of thinks they're all nonsense. And it kind of recounts what all these stories were of the father, who's the young father is played by Ewan McGregor, going through his life, just having crazy adventures, stuff that would just never happen to somebody in a million years.
They're fish stories.
And
He
they're
joins,
fish stories, exactly.
he joins a circus, all kinds of crazy, fun stuff that happens. That seems unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's incredible. Really, really well done. Danny DeVito's in it.
He is. Yes, he is.
It's really great. It really is. It's just strange, fun. It will actually be a tearjerker.
I was gonna say it's a tearjerker, dude, for sure.
At the end,
weep.
But I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you love Ewan, he is fantastic in this, and it's just great.
You were talking when we were pitching this show in Slack and talking about it this week. Charles, you said that you watched Looper. It was one of those movies you used to go back and watch over and over again. Big Fish used to be one for me, right? Like, you remember when we used to have DVD players in our cars back in the day?
Yes.
In minivans.
Oh my
exactly.
God.
DVD players and minivans, right? And
Minivans,
there's always
the town
like
and country.
there's always like a couple movies that were just like stuffed in the car somewhere and like you would forget to bring a movie. All right. So this is one of the movies that was like stuffed in my family's Suburban, and I would just put it in and watch it because I didn't have any other friggin' DVDs because I forgot to get one on a car trip, right? And I used to watch this movie on repeat, so I've probably seen this movie like 20 times. I love Big Fish. I haven't seen it in probably a decade, but it's really, really good. I also did not realize, literally until you mentioned it, that Tim Burton directed this film.
Yeah,
you're right.
I wish he did more like that.
It is
honestly.
not. Yeah, I do too. He's so known for his weird animation type of stuff. I wish he did more live action stuff for sure.
My back of the minivan movie, I can actually twist very vaguely into a Star Wars reference because Alan Tudyk was K2SO, was A Knight's Tale. I watched that thing 50 times in my mom's minivan. Without hyperbole. That was the one. That and the Kenneth Branagh Much Ado About Nothing. Those were my two.
All right, I have a couple more here. I don't know what these are, so I'm just gonna throw them on the screen. What the heck is this?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is Chancellor Valorum. If you notice who that is, that's Terrence Stamp. Chancellor Valorum. That is his character as General Zod in the original Superman movies. So
holy crap, Wes!
That character freaked me out because I was very little when I was watching that, and my parents would turn it on, and that guy creeped me out for years and years and years just because of his slicked back hair that he had. But that was General Zod from the Superman movies, and that is Chancellor Valorum in Star Wars.
Wow. So that is wow. You know what? I knew Wes was going to deliver on this episode. I actually, he's so
Wes thing.
Yeah, he's so full of random movie facts. Like I swear, dude.
Superman.
Did you know
the original
this?
Superman?
Did you know that was
Yeah.
who it was? Okay, so you
Yes,
knew
I
this
did.
like off the top
That's
of your
awesome.
head. That is incredible.
The original Superman movie was so long they had to cut it in 2 different parts, so that's why he's in 2 movies. But the one thing I didn't know about him, Chancellor Valorum, Terrence Stamp, is that he did voice acting for video games. So if you've ever played The Elder Scrolls 4, he's did a voice character there, and he also did the Prophet of Truth from Halo 3.
No, that's
who that is.
Oh, that's just your other picture, right?
That's
Oh,
my
I
other
think you shared
picture
this
in
one.
there.
This
I don't know.
guy. This is
Oh my
Chancellor
God.
Valorum.
I killed him.
That's Chancellor Valorum is that guy from Halo 3 right there.
What in the world?
So
dude?
we
I
called
didn't
a
know that
vote of
until
no
today.
confidence in the Prophet of Truth. That's,
Not great.
and then there's this
Oh
monstrosity.
no! Did you want me to bring this up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
for it, man.
I
This
accidentally
is-
threw it up, but just go with it.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. So this here is Sir Christopher Frank Carradine Lee, or Christopher Lee, or also known as Count Dooku in Star Wars. So so Sir Christopher Lee is in a heavy metal band. He's in a couple of them, but he is in a heavy metal band called Charlemagne. He does
No.
he actually
Yes, he
does
was.
This is
vocals.
rock opera or whatever, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He does vocals. I think he had 4 albums. So, which is crazy, right?
He has the coolest life in the history of the world.
That is
pretty much,
crazy.
yes.
Yes.
He was in the original Moulin Rouge. He was in The Wicker Man, Count Dracula. He was in Hamlet in 1948.
He was in World War II.
Yeah, like yes, he was
Like
in
the war.
He was a soldier, right? Yeah.
Do you know the story, the Saruman behind the scenes story?
No.
So quick tangent. There's a point in Return of the
story.
King, yeah, where in a deleted scene in the extended editions, which watch those instead. Come on. There's a point
I
where
don't have
Saruman
all
gets stabbed in the
day,
back.
literally.
He gets stabbed in the back by Wormtongue, and they were doing some post edits, and Peter Jackson was like, and then it'll sound like shot when you take it out. And Christopher Lee looked at him and says, "That's not what it sounds like when you stab someone."
Oh God.
And I'm like, Dooku.
I've seen there's some more stuff about that about Peter Jackson talking to him about, I forget what it was about something about death and witnessing death and knowing how to act, and Peter Jackson said he didn't really like the take that Christopher Lee did, but like, how could he argue with him, because this guy's actually seen death, right?
That's what it is.
It was a whole thing about that. Yeah. So
Do you think on like the Revenge of the Sith shoot, Christopher Lee was just like, that's not what it sounds like when you cut someone's head off?
With 2
that
lightsabers.
is very dark. That is
one
very dark.
of the funny things that I saw, like as a quote, was he did he recorded songs for Don Quixote the musical, Man of La Mancha. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but he said, as far as I'm concerned, Don Quixote is the most metal fictional character that I know. So that's
And he would know.
the reason why he recorded songs for that musical.
Wow.
God, that's
That
great.
is-
Also, real quick before we get off
Amazing.
that, to answer a chat, yes, Andrew, I saw that Derrick Henry just busted off a 76-yard touchdown run. I'm still beating you for the moment. All right, what we got next?
All right, speaking of World War II, excellent transition. There we
Yes!
go. Band
Yes.
of Brothers is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. This is probably my second to Star Wars. I have watched this every single year for the last 10 years. Seriously.
Decade?
Yes,
Yeah.
probably. Like I rewatch this once or twice a year. I absolutely love Band of Brothers. I've read at least 2 that I can think of. I think I've read only 2. I think he has more than 2, but I've read 2 of Major Dick Winters' books. Like it's very, very good storytelling. I have the same. It's funny. I watch this show and I have the same emotional reaction every single time I watch it. I cry every single time I finish the show. It's so moving to me every single time I finish it. And it's very, very good. And we were talking. It's funny. We were talking about what we should talk about on the show, and we said at the top of the show that I said I didn't want to do this episode, right? Because I thought it was a dumb idea. And Eric and Charles and Wes were all like, "Listen, you have to talk about Band of Brothers. I know how much you're obsessed with that." I'm like, "How the hell is that even connected to Star Wars?" So today, to be a smartass, I googled Star Wars World War II, and the first thing that freaking came up. look at this shit right now. I have it pulled up here. The first thing that came up is an article on StarWars.com, for God's sake. All right, from World War to Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Okay, so in this article, they talk all about Dave Filoni talking about. It's your George Lucas famous. He says in 2008, George Lucas said that the upcoming Star Wars: The Clone Wars was like Band of Brothers, only with Jedi. But little did we know just how much the award-winning show would draw from history's inspiration. And then Dave Filoni goes in to talk about World War II. He goes in to talk about how like bomber planes were like the inspiration for the design of the Millennium Falcon. And this whole article is about Band of Brothers and Star Wars. And I'm like, I don't know whether to be excited that this exists or pissed off that I've been like totally proven wrong again.
We
on
learned
this
so
show.
much.
Yeah, it's really, really crazy, but I love this show. I mean, George Lucas has said in numerous interviews that so much inspiration for the way that war is depicted in Star Wars is inspired by World War II, especially around like fighter pilots and dogfights. Like he talks about in the original Star Wars: A New Hope, like he mirrored the way that the dogfights looked in the original Star Wars film after like footage that he had found of World War II dogfights. Right?
Oh, so, to the point that they cut it in.
Yeah,
like they inserted
I've
direct
seen that.
footage
I've
of
seen
World
that.
War II dogfights and then recreated it to replace.
That's right. That's right. I've seen some of it. They've seen one of the documentaries where they have the film and they showed that. That's really neat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you are missing Clone Wars, as we all are, obviously at this point, and you miss those, especially the clone episodes, like the regs and like the Umbara stuff, like I Band of Brothers, I'm ashamed to say it's one I haven't done yet. I mean, there's just so much to do. And I cannot wait for the long weekend where I just sit and absorb the lives of these men, and it's going to absolutely wreck me. But from everything I've heard, that's the thing to do.
It's so unbelievably good. I mean, especially to where you like, so every single episode, if you've never seen it, it opens with they interviewed, almost all of them are dead now, right? That were in the 101st and 101st Airborne Division in World War II. Like I don't think there's any surviving members now. But when they filmed this series, directed by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, both directed and produced this miniseries on HBO, they interview the guys that they then have actors depict. And it's just so unbelievably emotional and powerful, and it's so good. And when I was like going back to do some of this research too for this episode, I sometimes we always give Dave Filoni credit for the Clone Wars in a weird way, but like I forget that George Lucas was largely responsible for the Clone Wars. Like he did write most of it, right? Like, I mean,
like as far as the big picture, he's like, this is basically what happened. Like he always had the idea that that's how he wanted to do it. He was the one that pushed for it to be a show. He was the one that pushed for it to be animation. Like he's like, this is how it should go.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, George, but thanks, Dave, and thanks to everybody.
It talked in this article about the Umbara arc, which we often talk about as one of the best arcs in Star Wars. And George personally wrote the entire arc. It talks about that, and like he was like all the war in that was inspired by specific stuff. Like so, it was cool. It's really cool. I hate that guy.
Didn't they do?
Hey, Von Krell.
Didn't they do like a second series? Wasn't it the Pacific?
Yeah, the Pacific was also an HBO show. It's a different film, and it's a different series, and the Pacific is much more focused on like the psychological aspect of warfare, which is, I mean, that's from what I've read. You guys know I've read a bunch of books on World War II and first person accounts and all that type of stuff. From what I understand, seems to be like how the Pacific War was interpreted. I mean, it was crazy. Going against the Japanese and in the Pacific Front was brutal and awful. And I don't enjoy the Pacific the way I enjoy Band of Brothers. Just because it's too dark and heavy for me to. It puts me in a bad emotional state. So I don't enjoy watching the Pacific as much. But you guys heard me say a couple weeks ago they are doing a new. The same folks that developed both of those shows in HBO too are all doing a new show that's based around fighter pilots and stuff. And I think it's supposed to come out either next year or the following year, which to get that and Patty Jenkins's films all around Star Wars, all around fighter pilot stuff, it's going to be fantastic. So I'm jacked about that.
It's going to be a good time.
I need to pick up a new World War II book, by the way. If you guys have any suggestions, like listeners and stuff, you should email me and tell me what World War II book I need to read because I'm in the mood to read one.
Charlie has a great Churchill biography I'll send your way.
Okay, that sounds good.
He's
I've
wild.
read one Churchill biography, but another one would be good.
It's probably still about drinking.
Probably. And cigars.
All day.
All right. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a
No,
rant
it's
there,
good.
but
You love it, man.
I'm
That's what we're
obsessed with
about.
Band of Brothers. All right. What is it?
This is me. This is me. So this is Legend Born by Tracy Deonn, and this is another one of our from a certain point of view Empire Strikes Back authors. And I believe I talked about this a little bit when that book came out. But this is the first book of Corey's going wild now, and we can see you're just going through all these things.
Sorry, I did not realize that. I forgot. I didn't know that I was showing the.
It's happening.
Here we go.
Jesus,
There
I'm
it
an
is.
idiot.
It's all
Sorry.
good, man. So this is a fantasy novel by Tracy Deonn that is a mixture of Arthurian myth with modern day kind of like it's a college story of this girl goes to University of North Carolina, and while she's there she encounters this like realm of essentially magic that's going on. There's descendants of Arthurian myth that are keeping out these demons, but there's also
Sounds like
like
Chapel Hill.
yeah, literally. And there's a ton of like stuff about like the racism of the area. Like Tracy Deonn is a proud black woman from the South that is like very much like incorporating a lot of that in. But it's just a really awesome first book in a series. So if you're a fan of like fantasy series with a lot of magic and characters and romance triangles and all these things, it's a fast read, and there's a really fun, vibrant online community about it. And it was interesting because when we were talking about this episode, a lot of movies, obviously, and shows came to light. But I was like, okay, what other books have I had time to read? And Legend Born was one from our initial pitch that I was so excited for. As a fan of Arthurian myth, I mean, I read tons of King Arthur stuff as a kid. There's enough nuggets of that in here to make it super interesting, but there's so much original stuff, and the action scenes and everything are just written so incredibly well that it remains fun. It remains just absolutely heart-wrenching, and it makes you very, very excited for the rest of the series to continue. So if you want another book to read and you want to get on that book talk, Legend Born by Tracy Deonn, I believe the second book title is being revealed in like sometime in the next month or so. So
It's a sick cover, dude.
yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, the artwork is great. It is another thick boy. It's like almost 500 pages, but it's a faster read. So if you need a little break from Star Wars, and you she wrote the story about the cave, the Dagobah cave, and from a certain point of view. So
Okay.
yeah, that really like kind of trippy one with like it's that sort of writing style. So if you want some ethereal writing, a little more mystical elements to it, and you love the way that she wrote about the cave in Dagobah, there you go. Legend Born. Couldn't recommend it enough. Loved it.
I think that was one of my favorite stories, and when we did that episode about the fact Paul the Empire Strikes Back, so that was a good one.
So cool. Highly recommend.
Okay, so last couple here, because I know we're going a bit long. Charles, this one you really wanted to show. Tell us about this film.
This was my number one. This was my number one thing I wanted to talk about. This is a picture, for those of you that aren't watching, of the Long Way Round series. But what I want to talk about is the Long Way series overall, which is actually 3 different, basically travel documentaries now that Ewan McGregor is done with one of his best friends, Charlie Borman. And the Long Way Round came out in 2004, and it was basically about him and Charlie riding motorcycles from London to New York City east, so through Russia. Okay.
Whoa.
Then they did the Long Way Down in 2007, where they rode from John O'Groats, which is the northernmost point of Scotland, all the way down to Cape Town, South Africa on their motorcycles. And then most recently, back in 2020, was the Long Way Up, which was the one on Apple TV. And they went from Ushuaia, which is the southernmost point of South America, and they rode all the way up to Los Angeles, this time on electric motorcycles.
Wow.
It had nothing like that had ever been done before on an electric motorcycle. They also use electric vehicles to bring all the filming crew and everyone.
Obi-Wan loves the environment.
Had ever been done. He does. He actually, he lives like in this place. Here's what's cool about this. And that reminded me. Watching these documentaries, you legitimately feel like you go on a vacation and an adventure with Ewan McGregor. Like he's just unapologetically himself
Which would be your Make-A-Wish, Charles, I'm pretty sure.
I watch these all the time. I watched The Long Way Round back when it came out.
I've never even heard of this. Like, that's...
Oh, dude, these are incredible.
Yeah.
These are incredible. I know for a fact they're all on Apple TV now because they're the ones who produced Long Way Up or paid for it or whatever. But I think you can still get the old ones on probably like Prime and stuff like that, if I had to guess. But they are incredible. And another cool thing about them is that, again, this is a book podcast. If you don't want to watch these series, there are also books that Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman wrote, right?
Wow.
Only for the first two. There's not one for The Long Way Up yet. They're not 500 pages. They're probably closer to 400. But they're really good reads too. I've read them. I've watched them multiple times through. They're a ton of fun. And it really does feel like you're like kind of spending quality time with Ewan McGregor, which is incredible.
Wow. That's really cool.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, I couldn't recommend these highly enough. And what I think is cool about, without spoilers, there was something in the news like in the past couple of weeks from someone who's a part of the Obi-Wan series. And he was kind of quoted, this made it into the news cycle, that he was casually talking with Ewan like before filming a scene. And then they started filming the scene, and it took him a few minutes into it to be like, wait a minute, I'm now talking to Obi-Wan. I'm not talking to Ewan.
Yeah.
Like, because
that's Kumail Nanjiani who said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is Obi-Wan. Like, he's just a cool dude. I want to meet him so bad, guys. I want to hang out with him so bad. I'm going to be his best friend.
I think that interview was in either GQ or Vanity Fair or something. And if you want to see Kumail's full thing, it was during the Eternals press group, but they asked him about Obi-Wan. And it's great because Kumail has been like a super nerd dude for years, and you would get to read him be like that, and he says some language we can't say in this podcast. But he's like, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi talking to me, and it's just like, that's who's making the Obi-Wan show, is people that are like, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's really fun.
But I will say, so Eric and Wes, then, have you guys seen this?
I have not.
I've
heard about it.
Oh my
I've heard about
man.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was on Apple.
Out of the three of you, though, for what it's worth, Corey, I think you would love this. I think, though, at the same time, you would finish watching this, and knowing your personality, you'd be like, guys, we're buying motorcycles and we're going on a trip. Like,
Listen,
I know you well enough to know that.
You laugh, but I'm like, I love those documentaries that are like people that like just dramatically decide that they're unhappy with their life and they want to just do something crazy, and they sell everything they own and do something crazy. I love that. There's some documentary, I can't remember what it's called, it's like the guys that they theorize that the reason some pineapple plant existed in Mexico is because the Polynesians sailed across the ocean. Have you guys seen that shit? You know what I'm talking about? All right, so it's a really, really good documentary. I'll find out what it's called here in a minute and tell you guys what it is. But they literally thought that like a pineapple can grow in Mexico that originated in Polynesia, and all the science community was all against them. So they said, you know what? We're gonna freaking test this. So they used technology from the time to build boats like the Polynesians did out of wood, and then sailed across from freaking Polynesia all the way to like Mexico. And like they nearly died. The boats like fell apart in the middle of the ocean. And like one of the guys that was like the least like convinced that the theory was accurate, like freaked out like when all the ropes were deteriorating on the boat. And he's like, we have to use this wire. And like the boat captain grabs the cable and like throws it into the ocean. He says, no, we're doing this the right way. It's such a good documentary. Jeez. It's about this guys. And so like I'm obsessed with stuff like this. Like this is right up my alley.
So was one of them in Phantom Menace?
Yes,
is that where this all comes back to Star Wars?
That's the connection. That's the one.
That was Ben Cartoneros. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Was that movie Pineapple Express?
Yeah. yes. Yeah, I mean,
is it the Kon-Tiki expedition?
That's it. There's a film that like it's not a documentary. There's a documentary about it, but there's also like a film about it too. And
wow,
fantastic. Yeah. So I don't know why I went on that crazy tangent. It's just one of my favorite documentaries.
Thank you for it.
Yeah, you're welcome. But you're right. I would love this. I cannot. The movie poster you show, it looks familiar, but I don't think I realized it was a documentary. So.
It's a whole series, man. I mean, hours and hours of just hanging out with Ewan.
That's
what more do you want?
I don't know.
What
that
more
I
do
can,
you want
I
for
can-
Charles?
Exactly right. That sounds fantastic. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right,
friggin'
let's
do
do
it,
it.
guys. Let's sell everything we own and do it right now. We'll buy motorcycles. It'd be
In
great.
Corey's trailer, we'll bring. The
Yeah, we gotta go. We have to go pick up. Damn it, we have to go pick up. No, never mind. Forget it.
That sucked. Wes,
know.
come on.
Sorry.
We should do it
Carl,
in like
we gotta pick up Carl. Sorry.
Carl has a motorcycle.
we should do it in like electric go-kart or something stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Something that's not street legal. And the documentary will just be like,
Yeah, I want you to pull me
us
behind
getting
a
pulled
radio
over.
flyer.
Yeah, exactly.
A red radio flyer.
We'll leave from Texas and we'll get like pulled over in Wes's hometown and like that's the end of the documentary.
I
we
think
all
we
get
probably
arrested.
make it all the way through Texas before we get pulled over.
Each state. Yeah,
I
you're
like
right.
it.
That's
I'm
probably
just in the
true.
radio flyer with my legs up, just doing this to all the 18-wheelers.
All right, guys.
Kon-Tiki. Listen,
So
go watch
here's
the
what I'll
documentary.
say.
All right, freaking documentary.
Watch the documentary. I will say, so we're these are all fantastic. I just think that do we want to do any last minute? We've gone in depth about a bunch of them. I think that this is Charles was your number one. This is the most I think apt of this entire topic. It's a Ewan McGregor documentary starring Ewan about his life. Go do that. Are there any other last minute ones that we didn't get to that you guys wanted to shout out real quick for people that are flipping through waiting for Book of Boba Fett?
No. Not
No?
for me.
All right, I will throw out one. We don't have to go into it. Is Ex
I really
Machina.
like yours.
Yeah, Ex Machina is a movie from a couple years ago. Oscar Isaac and Donald Gleason are in it. Poe and Hux are in it. It's an amazing, amazing movie. I already forgot the director, but Alicia Vikander is really the star of it. And it's basically like a play about artificial intelligence, about what is reality. And there's a really sweet, disturbing dance sequence with Oscar Isaac. And it's just Oscar Isaac and Donald Gleason acting their absolute faces off. And like they're really good in Star Wars, but it's fun when they can just like get a 90-minute film. It's super intense, but also just really freaking well done. If you love sci-fi, like hard sci-fi stuff, Ex Machina, cannot recommend enough. It's like one of my movies of that year. It made I don't know, $7 at the box office, but
very, very well done. It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie to see. If you like, you know what? I kind of want to watch a movie, but I don't know what to watch. Ex Machina. If you've already seen it, watch it again. It's super good.
it still holds up.
I've had multiple people tell me I would really enjoy that film.
Yeah. Oh, and Cheryl is absolutely yelling at us with the most obvious answer in the chat, which somehow we never came up with at the beginning. Indiana Jones.
I mean, let's be
come on.
Let's be honest though. Indiana Jones is almost an extension of Star Wars at this point.
You know, it's Harrison Ford, George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg. Like, it is so many people that made this thing we love.
Right.
And if you haven't seen Indiana Jones, honestly, in a while, or you've been like, well,
if you've never seen it, you know, I think we're finally at a time. Like in history, in which there are probably a large part of the population who's never seen Indiana Jones.
You know what? That's a great point, because everyone assumes that your friends have seen it. So it's like, I've never seen The Godfather Part 2, or like certain things. That's like, oh, because everyone assumes you've watched it.
Right, but now it's old enough too.
I said Part 2. I was about to reach through the screen and slap you.
Dude, I saw The Godfather 2 years ago.
I was
like, it's still recent.
That's crazy.
But go watch it.
I told you how into
now.
Mafia stuff I used to be.
Another Discord shout out is The Land Before Time. If you were a kid when you watched that movie, Kathleen Kennedy, right?
What's the
Kathleen?
really?
What about Kathleen Kennedy?
Was
What'd she do?
Producer or director or something of that?
I think she produced
cartoon.
it.
You know that?
I'm gonna save Andrew super chat and say, if you like Domhnall Gleeson, About Time.
Oh
About
God,
Time.
a perfect movie. Perfect movie.
Never seen it.
It's on Netflix.
I've started.
Don't know anything about it. Just go in and see it. It's a romantic / family movie that'll just make you cry.
I don't like those types of movies,
finished
dude. I don't like Caitlin picks chick flicks for us to watch, right? I know I realize that's a sexist term, but you know it's.
But I get the kind of movie you mean.
You understand what I'm talking about, right? So she'll pick a movie, and I say, listen, you have to screen this for me. If I'm gonna cry like a baby, I'm not watching it. I'm sorry.
Right. About time you will cry.
Yes,
absolutely.
Nope.
Well, here's what I'll say then. As we get through all of these, obviously the Star Wars canon gets bigger every year, right? With writers, actors. So the other projects they've done grow and grow. If you like these actors that are doing Star Wars things, if you like these writers that are writing Star Wars books, go buy some of their other stuff. Go support them in their other ways. Go watch these other streaming things, because unfortunately, we don't try to say this a lot, but like this is an analytics game. Like the numbers on the media that people watch and people buy absolutely affects now what people get cast and stuff, what writers get brought back. Like the High Republic books have all hit #1 so far on the or has all hit rather the New York Times bestseller list, not all #1. But like that means they get to keep writing more. So if you want to see an actor in Star Wars, stream their stuff. Get those numbers up, you know? And maybe you'll find something else that you absolutely love. So I cannot wait to see, honestly, that Ewan documentary I'm so stoked about. I can't wait to finally freaking watch Band of Brothers because I missed the Clone Wars and I want to feel something in my life. But most of all, I will say I can't wait to be back here in a week hanging out with you guys again after my Disney birthday vacation. I'm turning 30 on Friday. I'm going to Disneyland.
Happy early birthday, Eric.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. If you're listening to this
I'm
on
going
audio
to
only,
Disneyland.
I'm going to
Just won the Super Bowl. What are you gonna do?
next?
I will. I'll be building the lightsaber. I'll be doing the whole thing. I'll try to post pictures on Discord or stuff if I remember. But for the most part, I'm just gonna be having the time of my life with my paid time off because I'm an adult.
What's that like?
Oh, but on that, everyone, that is gonna do it for my last 29th birthday episode of The Living Force. If you support us on Patreon, thank you so much. Keep your eyes out for our commentaries of Attack of the Clones and Rogue One coming soon. A special thank you to Cheryl Bell, OK Endar, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Tyler Latour, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Storers MD. Charles is at C. Henkel, and Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for podcasting with me tonight. Thanks to all of you for tuning in and listening. And as always, may the Force be with you. Ka-chow.